my name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. This little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. Today, we are reviewing Abbott Elementary, Season 2, Episode 12, Fight. And we are sipping on apple juice and vodka, yeah. So, how y'all doing? I'm doing good. In this episode, we're kind of back to Janine being extra for no reason. Now it has to do with the children. And I'm just like, how many times is Barbara and the rest of the staff going to have to be your therapist, Janine? It's okay. It's okay to talk to people about your problems and things that your friends and maybe occasionally a coworker. Maybe, I don't know, because you don't shit where you eat. And them people, if they get one hint of you sometimes and they get mad at you, that's the workplace. I don't need to be having no issues with people in the workplace because I told you my secrets and stuff. But some people have those relationships with their coworkers, or they talk to them occasionally about things. And obviously, Janine does, especially when you have one of them jobs like being a teacher and it's like being traumatized every day. You in the trenches. You need some other soldier in the trenches to lean on and shit like that. But Janine be telling shit about her home life and shit. I just be like, girl. I mean, she started journaling. There you go. At least she's trying to process some of these emotions in some type of way, y'all. Something outside of just like experimenting with her coworkers and the children. But anyway, so let's get the shit I didn't understand out the way. I don't know shit about fantasy football, but apparently Melissa and what's her name? Ava and Mr. Johnson and even Jacob is in on this whole fantasy football shit situation. And Melissa and Ava trying to get over on Mr. Johnson so they can win something on the fantasy football situation. They started talking and all I heard was gibberish. Like, oh, balls and foots and fantasies. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I had never even knew what fantasy. At first, I thought fantasy football was you just kind of like made up, a game with imaginary players and you pretended to. I don't know what I thought it was. I don't know what I thought it was, but it has something to do with real life football players apparently, and what could happen if they do things on the field. Or so there was that plot. I wanted to get that shit out the way because I'm not going into that. I don't know what it's about. It's nice they have a hobby. There was no mental health to that. It was just. Yeah, it's not. If y'all like football, isn't the Super Bowl coming up or some shit? Rihanna's supposed to sing. I don't know who's gonna be in the Super Bowl. I don't know who's headed towards. Rihanna's supposed to sing. So don't ask me shit about that. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And then you got Eddie over here. His dad comes and visits the school because he has a landscaping situation. And I don't know if that man done emotionally abuse this child or, he's just very authoritarian or something, because this man is afraid of this man. And I'm just like, I don't want my kids to be scared of me like that. Like you don't think that's off that your son is scared of you like that? But like, maybe his dad seemed like a very black and white thinker too. He just focusing on his landscaping, keep wanting his son to come either work for him or just not be a teacher. Gregory just learned that, and it was interesting because Gregory been doing a little secret garden. The secret garden. It is. It's not as grandiose, but it is a secret garden that he's been tending secretly. And his dad gets to school and, sees his son's handiwork because he taught his son how to do that shit. And he's complimenting the teachers that he thinks did the garden, but come to find out Eddie did it. And so he praises Eddie. And, Barbara and Jacob feel a type of way. They'll be fine.
Barbara, hit him one more time.
Why would you be
tight-lipped about tilling.
But he's praised, and Eddie's just so happy to get this one little crumb of praise from this man who you can tell is strict and never gives him any praise, and probably low-key borderline emotionally abuses this man his whole life. He was so happy, and then he goes, you know, is this what black boy joy feels like? And I don't want to kill that for y'all, but no. No. That is what it feels like when you're on a cycle of abuse and you get to the honeymoon period. That dopamine rush that feels euphoric when that person that's abusive to you gives you that one little crumb of praise. Like, oh, he wants me to work for him. He thinks I'm doing a good job. Finally, after all these years of trauma and degradation, he is giving me some praise. Obviously, he loves me. Let's forget about the whole pattern of... No, because I don't want him to get his feelings hurt. I don't want him to... That's why you have to be real about it. Because those little moments of kindness, and maybe that's all he needed, because he told his dad no, and we didn't get to see his dad's reaction, because I'm sure his dad did the same deprecating thing he does all the time, and puts his likes down and blah, blah, blah. But we didn't get to see that, so maybe... Maybe that was enough for Eddie. Because a lot of times when people go through abusive relationships with their parents, sometimes they're just happy enough to get a happy word from them, a happy word of praise from them or something like that. So maybe he was experiencing black boy joy. He didn't want more than that. He was going to still be a teacher. He was going to still do what he was going to do. His dad still was going to talk shit about it. But now he knows deep down that his dad is proud of him. So maybe, because we didn't really see any major change in his dad except that he praised him that one time. So it's not like he changed into a whole different person and is encouraging and loving now for what he... But he kind of was, though, because Eddie was just like... Gregory, Eddie, whatever. You got two first names as a first and last name, so leave me the fuck alone, bitch. And so he was saying like his dad was really praising him, like on him boosting his confidence and working at the school. See, when you get into environments with various different types of personalities, either you're gonna sink or swim. You're gonna learn how to deal with these different types of personalities, especially with children. They just be coming at you with a bunch of random shit all the time. And either you're going to learn how to deal with it or you're going to, sink. And so his dad also noticed that too. And maybe that was it. Maybe, because sometimes we may not mean to be abusive, but sometimes we can have very domineering personalities that when someone very passive gets around us, we just go into leader mode. And sometimes that leader mode will change into manipulative, you need to do what I want to do mode. And then the more you do have moments like that with that passive person of we need to do what I want to do, the more that pattern will start to build up to where they're responding to it like it's abuse. They're questioning themselves. They're feeling not good enough. They feel all sorts and different types of trauma. And so, people that are doing that you just have a domineering personality, you should check in with the people that always want to do the things that you want to do. Because they probably don't always. I had to learn to do that shit. I have to check myself when I'm in a group of people and then all of a sudden, like, I find that I'm the only one making suggestions to do shit. And then I have to stop and be like, oh, no, let them talk. What do y'all want to do? I've been making suggestions for the last 3 places we went to. Like, let me shut the fuck up. And so sometimes you just gotta be mindful of that shit, because you can traumatize people and make them think that they're less than and shit if they hang around you too long. And so maybe that's the type of parent that Eddie has, not necessarily abusive. Like, he didn't know that the way he was treating his son caused abuse. He was just like, well, he's doing what I tell him to do. So what I tell him to do must be right. So let me keep telling him to do shit. Like, there's not that much arguing back. Like, you just slip into it and you're not even paying attention that this other person is people pleasing. That's what I be saying about fuckboys. Them niggas that be like, well, I didn't tell her we were together, but you ate the food she cooked. You let her come over your house You took her on romantic getaways and shit. Why the fuck you got a bitch around you that like you like that, but you don't like them like that? You ain't got no fucking empathy. That's the problem. Like, you see how I have to check in to make sure I'm not being domineering and taking advantage of passive motherfuckers? That's how fuckboys should be. Let me make sure that I am not playing off of this person's mental health issue and vulnerability, and just check in and see where they, oh, you like me more than I like you. Okay, you know, maybe we need to take some distance because, you know, I feel uncomfortable having someone around me that likes me like that, but I know I will never like them like that. So basically every interaction is me like quietly taking advantage of them. Because that's what it is. It's still taking advantage of somebody because you know that you don't like them like that. You know that this isn't going anywhere and you're still taking advantage. See, it's the same thing. So, y'all just check in on yourself. Check in on your friends and your family. Check in if you a domineering person that, you know, takes the lead very easily in situations. Or you're in a position of power and, you know, just the position you're in will make passive people feel even more vulnerable to be overly doing stuff that does not need to be done. You know, you just checking people like, you know, that was nice of you, but I don't need all that extra. Like, you don't have to do that. That's okay. I just asked you to bring me a pen. I didn't ask you to bring me like lunch and shit. I mean, it's nice of you. And that doesn't mean that people can't be nice to people, but just notice if the person that's doing something nice for you gets frantic sometimes, if there's a little mistake in a nice thing that they're doing, or is being nice to you because they feel like you have similar emotions towards them and you don't, you know. But if you're just being nice, be nice, nothing wrong with that. But anyways, so maybe it is Black Boy Joy. Maybe that's all he wanted. He don't want his dad to change. He don't need that. He just needed a little bit of praise just to know that he was doing right this whole time. Like he told his dad, we work together. You tell me I'm doing it wrong. I do it again. Then you tell me I'm doing it wrong again. Then I back up and let you do it. And then you just redo it like how I do it. He knew he'd been doing right this whole time. He just needed confirmation. See, that's that autistic shit. You need confirmation because you know in your mind is right. You've been looking at your dad like something wrong with him all this time. You know what I mean? But no, he's also scared and traumatized of that man. Why are you standing up stiff waiting for that man to walk into the building? Why are you looking like that in the face at this man? Why are you calling him sir? Yes, sir. That's, I cannot have my future children afraid of me. I cannot have my future, no. That's what I mean, like, how you stand there and know somebody is like so afraid of you that they turn into a different person anytime you're around, so you never really know who they are. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's weird. But anyway, so let's get to Janine. So Janine got these two little girls in her class. Here comes Janine once again trying to fix shit that, you know, may just take a conversation or may just be real accepting people for who they are. That's what it was. It was her needing to accept people for who they are, and she couldn't because she's triggered by conflict. And when we get into the rest of the show, she talks to Barbara about it, and, you know, she tells Barbara that her mom and her sister used to always bicker between each other. And she had to get in the middle. And basically, she became parentified. So parentified means that you're putting adult responsibilities on a child, adult emotions on a child. And then they have to take responsibility for your emotions or the tasks that you need to be doing as the adult in the house and shit like that. So she became parentified. And basically had to be the referee between her mom and her sister all the time and shit like that. So she hates conflict and she immediately wants everybody to be friends, but that's not realistic. And that's what Barbara said. It's not realistic, honey. She kept sitting these girls next to each other. These girls, you can't force people to like each other. This reminds me of this one episode. You remember that show Recess that used to come on ABC? And TJ and his little friends, and they was doing stuff on the playground at recess, going on these random ass, fake ass adventures that didn't happen in real life. Because I had them adventures in elementary school when we had. I I was so jealous. I was like, where the tunnel under the earth come from? How these niggas digging a ditch in the middle of the playground and ain't nobody saying nothing? Wait a minute, I'm confused. We can't do that. So anyways, there was one episode, and TJ is the one with the red hat, and he is loved by everybody at the school. Even, what's her name, Miss Dinkley. She was the school monitor, and she was this big white woman with white hair and a yellow dress, and she would just be just the strictest bitch at the school. But she liked TJ. She just thought he was a little rapscallion. He's just a little rapscallion. And if he does some shit, he's gonna get in trouble. But he's not a bad person. So she, realistic about who TJ is. TJ, what the fuck his name was. Anyways, so one day this little kid joins, he was black too. And this kid is new at school. And he is like, he just don't like TJ off top. He just don't like him. And TJ is just flabbergasted because he go around the school, everybody telling him they like him and he's awesome and amazing. But he is hyper focused on this one little nigga all day. And I'm just like, TJ, girl, everybody ain't gotta like you, honey, and everybody ain't gotta have a reason to not like. This child did not like TJ. He didn't want to be TJ's friend. He didn't want to talk to TJ. He didn't want to be around TJ for whatever. They even name a reason. He just didn't like this little nigga, and I was just like, sometimes shit like that be happening. I mean, sometimes everybody ain't gotta like you. And so TJ had to learn that lesson that day, but he was doing all the extras to get this one little kid to like him when all these other people at this. Why are you focusing on this one person? And that's how people do. That's how human beings do. We focus on this one person that does not like us or has something against us or is abusive towards us when everybody else is chill. And we put all of our energy into that. And then when they don't like us, we say there's something wrong with us. And it's like, that's one person. Like, if you think of all the people that were abusive or hurtful to you, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like one hand of people that probably were traumatizing or hurtful to you. But like all the rest of the people that you've encountered in the world, teachers, the people at the grocery store, the kids most of the people you encounter in the world are going to be chill people. Like even bullies at school, it's like 1 or 2 people that's dominating the school, but everybody else at the school is pretty chill. And so you got to think about that. Like the evil people are in the minority in the world. They just don't care about how they get to the top. So they'll rob Peter, pay Paul, fight, kill, destroy, whatever to get to, and then they'll make it to the top because everybody else, the majority of us in this world, are pretty chill, just living our life, trying to do stuff and live life and whatever the fuck. So TJ just was not like, he was just like hyper focused on this one kid, and it's like that's how we are as human beings. And so. But he didn't realize until the end that like he had to really flip the script and be like, you know what? Everybody in this school does like me. Even the monitor that everybody like low key don't likes me. Maybe I need to chill out and just let this one kid like have this one enemy. The more haters you have, it means you're doing good because people look up to people because that's just human nature. And some people are going to be like, oh, well, she does this and she does that and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, you don't know what the fuck I had to get through to get to this. I lived in a house with roaches and rats in the wall and shit, nigga. Like, don't come for me. And it's like, you don't know nobody's story to be jealous and mad about it. But if they are jealous and mad, that means you're doing something right. That means somebody thinks that very highly of you. Very high enough to be over them. And so, just as One Punch Man, I'll just, chill and enjoy my power. And, maybe like the Sanderson sisters, soak that motherfucking shit up like essence. Haters give me life. I don't care. Because you can spend your time directing that energy at so many other things, growing your own shit. But instead, you honor me. You honor me with your hatred, and it's just like, God bless you. Yes, quad. Anyways, so TJ had to learn that sometimes people just don't like you. And that's what Janine had to learn, that sometimes people just don't like each other. And these are kids. They may even just, like, if you sit them separately and let them play separately, they may get over it in like a month just because they're kids. Or, you may just want to have like a mediation. Just like sit down with them in private and talk to them. Like, I don't understand why she asked them in the middle of everybody in class, why y'all mad at each other when they've been fighting like that all day. Like, why didn't you, like, at recess sit them down and be like, so what's up? Something. If you really wanted to know what was going on with them, you didn't really want to know what was going on with them. You just wanted them to stop fighting because it was making you upset. See how your mental health makes you selfish to the point that you're not actually helping anybody. You're just focused on stopping the pain inside yourself. That's what was happening with Janine, and that's why it was pissing me the fuck off. Like, bitch, you're not helping these kids. In this one situation, you're not helping these kids. You're trying to stop your pain, and so, like, you're trying to force them together like Play-Doh. They're not gonna be forced together. They don't like each other. You ain't even trying to sit them down and talk and have mediation about why they don't like each other. Probably because you don't want to sit in the middle of them arguing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing things that are helpful to the children. You're not doing things that are helpful to the children because your own anxiety, girl. You need to think through things, girl. It's just not okay, girl. So anyways, she talks to Barbara, learns from Barbara. I wish she would stop using these coworkers as her therapist and just go to therapy. Journaling's a step, though. She took a step. So let me shut the fuck up. She took a step when she made a friend outside of school. She took a step when she bought a journal. There you go, baby steps. I wish it wasn't like halfway through the season and we still haven't seen a therapist, but go off, sis. But baby steps. It is. Let me shut the fuck up. Because people heal at their own pace. So even though this is realistic of real life, people heal at their own pace. Like, even though I'm a therapist, it took me until a year and a couple months ago to go to therapy. Because I just kept saying, I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. Like, nothing's wrong. And then shit just started getting worse. And then I just started having these dating experiences that were just like, ooh, girl, maybe you need to talk to somebody about this shit. And so, sometimes it takes time for each person. This is realistic, I guess. If you feel like you want, especially for them people that have control issues, like, you need to be in control of your life. And it's hard to give control, even partial control, to someone else to help you. Then it's going to be even harder to go to therapy, because a good therapist will read you for filth in a nice therapeutic way. Okay. They'll just say things nicely, but it'll be like, ooh, no one's ever told me that before to my face. I know you didn't, girl. I am, though. A good therapist will help you understand, like, where did all of this start? Because where it started is where it's ending in your present. Because you're putting the face of the person that hurt you or the thing that hurt you from your past on the people in the present, and you're expecting them to act the same way. That's why we have to figure out where it started, and then understanding things that trigger you to go back there. What does your coworker do that triggers you to go back there? Okay, so how can you respond to this coworker differently while still acknowledging and validating that this emotion is real? Oh, maybe because I'm an adult now, not a child, and I have more power now than I did as a child. I could, do mediation. I could walk away. I could tell the supervisor. I could make a plan to quit this motherfucker because this bitch, they ain't done nothing. And I've been doing all the things, and I did mediation and they ain't done nothing. I could sue the company. Look at that. Got my documentation and my evidence put together. I'm going to sue now because y'all didn't listen to me. And now I have a paper trail to say that I tried to get the job to listen. But guess what? They didn't. And this person continued to harass me in the workplace. See? Now you can do shit. Before, as a child, you could do shit, but the results may have been iffy. So, like, if you call DCFS, maybe they'll do something. Or at the very extreme, they could take you out to home, put you in a group home with people that are worse sometimes. Or at the other extreme, they could do absolutely nothing. Or in the middle, they just put you in kinship care and you go stay with one of your aunties and uncles and cousins. Or they might just make your parents take parenting classes depending on how severe the abuse or situation was. So it's iffy as a child what could happen if you tell somebody about the things that are happening. But that don't mean don't tell. That don't mean don't tell. Depending on it, don't depend. Just tell somebody, okay? Because you gotta think of it that way. Like most of the time with DCFS, I always be telling kids this. I'll be like, because most of the time with DCFS, they don't want to take you out of the home and put you in foster care or some shit because it costs money per kid from the state to pay for each kid to be in foster care. That's why you got all these people trying to be in foster care just so they can get a bunch of money, and these people turn out to be like abusive towards the kids that they watching and shit like that. 9 times out of 10, they will just mandate your parent to parenting classes, or they'll put you in kinship care. So they'll look for the next closest relative that you could live in their house until your parents or whatever figures it out. If you don't have the next closest relative, that's when shit becomes iffy, because then it's like, if you need to be removed from the home, yeah, you may go to a group home or foster care. And so this system is fucked up because, like, how the kids supposed to get help if they getting, let me stop. I'm going to go off on some tangent and start cussing out the system, and it's going to be a whole thing. So God bless the children, okay? But Janina type, she the control type. So she's like, needs to feel in control and all this other shit. So she the type that's going to be hard for her to initially go to therapy and do all this stuff and whatever. So it's realistic, but it's just like, it's irritating. It's irritating. It just makes me itch. It just be like, why you keep doing this shit every fucking week? Last week it only vibed because it was something that you enjoyed. Like, but most of the time, and then she gonna tell Barbara after they little office hours and things, she gonna be like, no, I want to keep my appointment for like a week or so from now because I'm gonna have a shit ton more things to bring to you. And I'm just like, girl, because you're not bringing things to Barbara like school related. Like, how do I she is, but she's also bringing like personal reasons behind the questions, personal reasons that she needs to go to therapy for. And then maybe she can talk to Barbara occasionally on the side about some of these things. And most of these things will be tackled in therapy. Like Barbara gave her good advice, but what will she do when that trigger comes up again? That conflict trigger. Like, better understanding why it affects her so deeply, learning interventions on how to stop it from being a knee-jerk reaction. Basically, Barbara was just telling her, sometimes you got to sit with being uncomfortable. Okay, that's good, but some people can't just sit with it. Some people have to like do deep breathing while they're being uncomfortable. Some people have to distract themselves while they're sitting through being uncomfortable. Some people like have to recite a mantra in their head while they're being, see what I mean? Like, you just telling her to sit with it. What if she don't know how to just sit with it? Sometimes you got to work your way up to just sitting with uncomfortability. And so, yes. And anyways, so, I just, every episode I will continue to see, Barbara need to go to therapy because because I was going to say everybody need to go to therapy. And I believe it. Barbara need to go to therapy because she too judgmental of people. Jacob need to go to therapy. I don't know. He's just gossipy and nosy. And like, that white racism shit be coming up, like the unbeknownst racism, like the overcompensating racism, and that should be irritating the fuck out of me. So maybe that's something he could work on in therapy. Eddie, I don't know, I think he need to work on his shit with his dad. Like, he looks scared as fuck about that nigga coming in that school. And I'm just like, will that really be enough for you, Eddie? That one moment of praise from your dad? I mean, he did go on and on about him having more confidence. So maybe if Eddie stands his ground more with his dad won't be such an asshole or some shit. But I would still want to see him in therapy to break that down. But, it's not like mandatory for him. Melissa, think that's just part of her culture. She just be like, she's a hustler. I don't know, like, maybe like that shit with her sister, but even that, like, I think that's a part of their culture. Like, that's how they talk to each other and shit. Like, even when they like each other, they talk to each other like that. I mean, like, sometimes we take cultural things and turn them into trauma. I mean, we turn traumatic things into culture. There you go. We turn traumatic things into culture and make it a cultural norm, like how we ate chitlins in slavery because they gave us the worst part of the pig. And even though we are no longer in slavery, people still want to eat the intestines of the pig, and it's just good for y'all. I mean, we don't have to. Just know that we don't have to anymore. Now it's a choice, and you just kind of have to consider your choices. And then what? I think Ava's like Harper from whatchamacallit. What is it? The Best Man. She's like Harper. She just is like in survival mode and can be really selfish sometimes. And so I think she could go to therapy. And her like mom's sick and stuff. She probably going through shit like that. See, I can find a reason for every one of them motherfuckers to go to Mr. Johnson. They don't show him enough to give us enough background about his emotional stability. He's just like the comic relief. He come in, make niggas laugh, and then leave. So once they show enough about his background and what he be going through, then I can be like, yep, and that's why Mr. Johnson need to go. But it's like, and it's not like I'm saying like, oh, therapy is like, oh, you have to get it forever. And no, like, I just be like, it's good to go to therapy if you feel like there's some part of your life where you're having trouble functioning and getting through it on a regular basis. And it's not forever. Like, I don't believe in them people that keep people in therapy for 20 years or something. Because no, then you're creating a crutch. And I'm not about to enable somebody to use therapy as a crutch. Like, oh no, if I don't have therapy, everything's going to fall flat in my life and it's going to be horrible. Like, no, therapy is an island that you come to refuel. And once you've refueled, then you go into the world and you test your skills, and you may never have to come back to therapy again. Or, your mom dies or some shit happens later on after therapy, and you may it may be too much to deal with just with by yourself and with your family and friends. You may need some extra support and how to cope and learn and deal with all that shit. It just depends on the part, but at least go once and for an extended period, enough period of time. Don't go for like a couple sessions and be like, I went for a couple sessions and that was enough. Like, no. And I would suggest going to see a trauma-based therapist because they will work on interventions that dive a little bit deeper into the origins of why you respond the way you respond to certain triggers. And I mean, yeah. But that was this episode, Fight. Janine still, she's not ill. She just, it's irritating. How many things is she like? Why she got to keep using her coworkers as therapists, and then that's it? Like, you ain't got nobody. I'm wondering how her friendship with Erica is going. Like, we ain't seen Erica, and what happened to that little TA girl? I seen her on another show though, so maybe like they filming this. Like, they ain't filmed ahead for this. They're filming it. It seems like it. They're filming it throughout the season or whatever. So I seen her on another show. So she might just have went to that show and stuff. So, whatever. I wasn't mad about her. I was just like, it was just too much of the energies together. Them two, Janine and what's her name? Tiffany, Ashley, whatever the fuck her name was. And it was just too much of them energies combining. It was like two big old bombs in the school. It was too much for me. I couldn't handle it. So I'm not necessarily upset to see her go, and I'm happy to see that she is continuing in her career and other things. So it's like this Latin sci-fi show. It looked good though. I might watch it. But anyway, so what will we see? Well, Janine ended off calling her sister, so maybe we'll meet her sister next week. I wonder who they would get to play her sister. Like, of course she would have to look like, would she be the same height as her? Like, and then one day we'll meet their mom, most likely. Like, her mom sounds just like she got some stuff. And, she got some stuff. So, I'm excited. Maybe we'll see her sister next week. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting dynamic. Or this week. Not next, this week. I'm late. I've been late. It's late. Everything's late. I know it's late. But it is what it is. We doing the best we can in this world where I only got $10 for all the views that I got on my shit. So, this shit ain't paying me. I got to focus the most on what's paying me and things like that. So, I'll be trying to get at least once a week. That's my goal, once a week. But if it don't happen, y'all, let this shit start paying me some substantial monies. I'll be like, wait a minute, I got money to make some production stuff up here. I could change things. But yes, I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed talking to the camera. Look at this thing. It's a rainbow monkey. I got off of Etsy. If you ever watched Kids Next Door, what's the little Asian girl? Number 4. She was a little ditzy Asian girl with like the green shirt that she wore, and she loved her some rainbow monkeys and shit. And that's why I got this, and it's so cute. It's just the cute rainbow monkeys and shit. So yeah, I wanted to show it because it's cute. Like, who thought to make this? But I got it off of Etsy, so get you one. It was $30. Just type in rainbow monkeys and shit. I'm not about to give nobody no. You ain't paying me. Type in rainbow monkeys on Etsy. But then I mentioned Etsy. I'm tired. Type in rainbow monkeys on Etsy, and there's a bunch of people selling them and shit. Etsy be having some shit. People don't know. You go on Etsy, you just gotta read the reviews and shit. Make sure they got a lot of reviews, and it's in like 4.5 to 5-star range and shit, because sometimes I don't be receiving shit when I buy it. But that's rare. But still, it happens sometimes. And I just be like, oh, Etsy, I need to take a break, because that's where I be getting my press-ons from. Them people on there is artistes, okay? And so, yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, because monies would be nice to shade me from the evils of this oppressive world. And I, too, wish money in returns for you to help shade you from the oppression of this evil world, misogynies and racisms and sexisms and homophobias and transphobias. And the more money you have, you got to fight the white man's fight with his weapon, and his weapon is money. The more money you have, the safer you can be in this motherfucker. See, I never lost the fear of being homeless or being out in the elements of this world, because you see how the world is. Okay? I have clients, they be asking me, like, what about having kids? Like, isn't it a valid fear to, like, not want to have kids in this world that's so fucked up? And I just be like, well, one, the world's always been fucked up. Imagine having kids during, like, World War II or the civil rights movements, or I be thanking God every day I'm in this fucking year. Having a kid during slavery and then having snatched right out your uterus and taken away, like, it's gone now. And then I just be like, you know what? Money. That is what's going to protect you and any future. You can move anywhere in the world with money. You can build a fortress with an underground bunker just in case of any apocalypse is with money. You could, buy a yacht and sell that motherfucker away if them other countries come for America. Nigga, you could buy an island. There's some islands out there that are $1 million and just squirrel away on that motherfucker. No one can. You and your partners, if you choose, and your children, if you choose, and you can just build a whole commune on the $1 million island you just bought. That's what I'm talking about. You can live a safe life in this world if you have money. Because the white man rules this world, and that's the white man's weapon. So, I wish money's on you. Like, share, subscribe. Those are your little wishes of monies on me. And let us all be overflowing with the monies in this capitalistic world, so we can all squirrel away from these white supremacists, patriarchal motherfuckers, because that's the foundation of it all. Patriarchy started everything, because Rome sure enough did take over Europe for a good period of time. Like the white people was fucking around with their own people for a good period of time, fucking hating on themselves first. And then, for whatever reasons, these white folks decided we're gonna go and take everything from the other people that don't look like us. We're tired of killing ourselves. And that's what they did. And, that's where racism was born out of patriarchy. So all that shit goes together. So, to protect ourselves from all of that, we all need the powers of monies. And then we can create our own infrastructures and create our own media outlets and create our own shit that makes a lot of money. And if we stop selling the companies when they get big and selling them to white companies, then we could just keep create and have our own things, like our own Disney and our own Marvel. And I'm just saying, look at the Asian folks with the Korean and the Japanese and the Chinese dramas. You see how much money they're making? And they try to do it in Nollywood, but they ain't got the money for the production and stuff yet. And sometimes they be doing shit in the movie. We don't need to see this person walking toward us for 3 minutes. I'll be like, why is it taking so long for this person to walk towards me? Why are we focusing on this one scene of this person sitting here watching TV? It's been 2 minutes. Are we gonna continue with this shit like that? So they're not where but they getting there. That's what I'm talking. How you gonna build Wakanda, but you ain't even keeping the businesses that is needed as the foundation to build Wakanda? I'm tired. It's fine. Whatever. Do what you want to do. But anyways, me and mine make sure we gonna have the monies, and we're gonna have the agency to do whatever the fuck we want because we got the money. So yes. I went on a rant about money, damn it. It's important though. It's important because this is the world that we live in. If planting gardens and bartering wasn't, then I would be like, let's barter. You send me bananas and oranges and apples. But that's not the world we live in. That isn't, it would be nice, but it's not. So yes, I hope you all enjoyed. And yes, I ramble. It is what it is. I've got new subscribers even from last week. So I hope you enjoy this. New people, welcome. And I hope it was informative. And thank you for subscribing. Let me say thank you, because I think I forgot to last time. I don't know. But thank you for subscribing. I know. I'll be up here. I saw this other woman doing this. And she was a therapist. I think she's an LMFT or something. And she was doing this with a glass of wine. And she was doing the Wednesday show on Netflix. And she broke down each scene and was talking about each scene, the mental health issues that go with each scene that could apply there. And I was just where does the energy come from? To break it down like that? Wow. So for the people that have decided to subscribe to me, I am really grateful because I'm not doing all of that. I was just the energy, the dedication, the motivation, the time it takes, and to break it down into a whole hour. I was just and then where you get a copy of the movie to break it? See, I don't even know how people are getting copies of the shows and movies to just snatch clips from. I'll be going on YouTube and using this downloader to download the clips that are on you, and they don't got all the clips on YouTube. So I just be how do you do that? If anybody got some tips and tricks, I wouldn't mind downloading the whole show and then just picking clips from it and shit. I'm gonna Google it. I'll just need it to Google more. But if y'all got some tips and tricks, let me know. So yeah, thank you for because I'm not doing all of that. I would maybe later in life one day, but I'm not today. So the fact that you still enjoy, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. And keep watching and keep learning and keep wanting to know about mental health and stuff, because that's how we all heal. The more we know about mental health and can put words to these behaviors and to these feelings inside of us, the more we'll just be able to heal, because now we have a direction instead of just feeling like this big ball of broken. Now it's like, oh no, that's every time you get a random negative thought, you can be like, no, that's my trauma, instead of being like, oh, I ain't shit. Like, no, that's my trauma. See how much better it feels to just call that negative thought your trauma instead of just saying that you aren't shit. That's what we're here for, okay? So I appreciate you all, and later days.